to whatever this video is called. And what this video will be about, if it even is a video and not just an audio thing, because that's very possible at this point, but I don't know for sure yet. Well, it's about why I'm a weirdo. Well, kind of explain why I'm a weirdo, I don't know. That decides to take a walk at 10:30. Because that's something I did. Because reasons. So basically the entire thing started with the extra credits video on melancholic games. And as always, something like that gets me to think. Something that I always enjoy doing. And well, this was on 4 melancholic games from one studio that is long gone. And I highly advise you watch it, of course, because 1, it's a good video, and 2, you probably won't understand what this video is all about without it, but... Well, of course, then I try to think of if I have played any melancholic games. And... well, the first, of course, hurdle for that is I'm not too familiar with the term because Dutch simply doesn't have a good word for it. And even if there is a very good translation, it's not a word that is ever used in Dutch. So, yeah, so basically dealing with a term that I'm somewhat unfamiliar with, but... well, I did come to a couple of games that left me pretty melancholic. Dishonored, because whatever good thing I'm talking about with games, I probably bring up Dishonored at some point. Thus, the Elysian Tale, because, well, people have probably figured out by now as well that I am probably way too in love with that game as well. And a sort of surprise to me, but, well, in many ways a surprise to me, a story about my uncle. All of these games, when I put them down and when I finish them, whenever I think about them, they always leave me in the state of just kind of thinking. And I can never come to a conclusion with these games. I mean, you don't really get to a conclusion with something like the Lego games, because, well, they're just fun. And you don't really come to, and you come to a conclusion with games like Fallout. I mean, Fallout 4, it had some great things that I love to discuss with myself in it. About what makes you a person and what is a person. Would a synth be able to be a person? But those questions, while amazing, I could come up with a conclusion. And I have come up with a conclusion. But these are games that just... they leave me with no conclusion. No matter how many times I think about them, and I think about those types of games a lot, because I'll have to take walks for about an hour, because, well, there's a park quite literally around the corner, and during those walks I like to talk about stuff to myself, because, like I said, I'm a weirdo. And I love to discuss things, and games like Dishonored and Dust and a story about my uncle, those are probably 1/4 of the things that I talk about during those walks. Because these are all games that just leave me kind of thinking, and well, I'm kind of trying to define that for myself as well. Oh, and by the way, this video is kind of a summary of my random thoughts for about an hour, so if it comes across pretty scatterbrained, well, that's why. But I kind of try to figure out why these endings do this. Dishonored, I think, was kind of something of my own making. Because if you heard me talk about Dishonored 1, then you probably know how I pushed through the entire flooded district. Just from the moment you are... Oh, and minor spoilers, by the way, so if you don't want to have Dishonored 1 spoiled for you so many years later, I don't know, maybe skip 2 minutes or something, I don't know. But yeah, after you are betrayed, after that I played it all in one session. That was too long of a session. It kind of ruined my enjoyment of it. But with that, it gained a whole newer, a deeper understanding of kind of the experience, the feeling of the game. This trying to push on against everything, it was really quite something.
Yes, I actually helped him collect
And
samples
Dust did this
sometimes.
very deliberately, I think.
That's right.
The ending
Found all
is...
sorts of things. One time we went to the forest.
It's a good ending.
Found a small
I can't fault that.
full of
It's definitely good, but
Were there chickens in the forest?
no, not just
it's
that.
also...
These were small and jelly-like.
It's painful.
Hundreds of them.
I mean, every story in the game,
Frog eggs.
every story that you finish,
Surprise, though.
finishes good, but
What happened?
Well,
there was also this
and one day,
underlying
Fred woke up with
to
all
it.
over his body. Turns out it wasn't frog
It's
eggs
complicated.
at all. It was mosquito eggs.
Ah, poor Fred.
I
And
know.
especially Dust. I mean,
He
it's
did find
so...
real frog eggs eventually. He told
I
me
mean,
that they were
he
very
fulfilled his
special,
purpose, but
but I don't know what happened to them.
it's so... Yeah, I have more videos talking about it, and it always leaves me like this... No, Dust. That's really the only conclusion I can come to, and I don't know. And a story about my uncle, it's also this story of...
These blue
It had so many
eggs.
good moments.
Did Fred put them here?
It had so many good moments, and
Here as well.
well, one of the big surprises were... I just forgot Well, I forgot it. I forgot I played it. And that's such a shame, and it's so... Yeah, it's... I don't like that I forgot it, because it's one of those games that was really good. It is really good. I mean, there were problems with it. I could very often see visual problems. There were parts of gameplay that were not too clear, and it didn't matter. I mean, I might not be the best judge for this, as, well, I still love Skyrim, and we all know that that isn't a perfect game, but I still love it. It's so good still.
Hello. Who are you? You're not from here. Wow, you look just like Fred, but smaller, and with less hair on your face.
She knew
And
Fred.
that one also leaves me with,
I told her that he was my uncle.
well, one,
that I was
Maddie,
looking for
just
him.
everything about that character is so good and so well done, and
I said that he was. That
I love
had
it,
known him
and I don't
all my
know.
life.
Really? Me too.
That's also something that all these things have. Whenever I talk about them, the phrase, I don't know, will always come up.
Sometimes. I don't know why, really, but you can call me Maddie. You've never been to the village, right? Let's meet over there in the square. I'll show you around. I bet you can get there easily with your
But
suit
yeah, the
fit.
ending as well, and
So,
just the entire thing of A Story About My Uncle is amazing.
I couldn't believe it.
Just, if the gameplay looks in any way interesting, or you think that I have even a slightly bit of good taste, go play it, it's so good. It's so good, or if you don't want to spare the money, I did a playthrough of it. I mean, it's one of my playthroughs, so it's not good, but I guess it's an option. And I kind of try to think of what makes these endings the way they are. Why do they leave me like this? I mean, it's not just an open ending, because, well, an open ending doesn't really leave you like this. An open ending leaves you wanting to know what happens if it's done well, and makes you not really care if it's not done well. But it doesn't leave you like this. And it's also not just, it's not a bad ending either, because, well, I have played a game with a bad ending. The one that keeps coming to mind is Aperture Tag. I mean, it's a good game, it has good gameplay, it has good puzzles, but don't play it for the story, because, well, once again, a spoiler, the very end is just kind of a joke. I'm sorry, it's not a good idea to end hours of a game, hours of a story, on just a joke. It doesn't really work. But these games all have something so unique to it, I think.
Mostly boring stuff,
Yeah.
if you ask me, but it's worth a try. Before asking him, though, you should
And
check out
a thought that I have
the
now
Cecil
is,
unless you have to stay for too long.
it kind of reminds me
Go to the
of,
island with the windmill, and you'll see Samuel's cove from there.
and
I'll go on ahead and
yeah, this is something that I also want to make my own little video about. I mean, I already have the audio, I just need to finish the audio and then make a video and yada yada yada. But it reminds me of Two Kinds, an amazing online comic.
It was perfectly normal.
It's by far the best book I've ever read. But yeah, it reminds me of that, because that also leaves me just thinking, and well, I think it's a combination of good characters and good stories, and yeah, I really do not know. It's just, everything about it is great, and well, like I said, I don't know at all. But yeah, that's just kind of me. That's just kind of the thing that my head likes to do between 10:30 and 11:30. It likes to just go wild with thoughts, and I mean, this entire thing started with, well, me being ending kind of melancholic, and then just, well, my head couldn't play games, it couldn't try to edit a video, no, it just wanted to kind of stay that way, and well, then talking to myself really helps, because then thoughts can generally really flow well. I mean, it's not really coming across in this video, and I understand that, but yeah, that's just, I mean, this is also why I love games. Just, no other medium has ever managed to get this type of connection. Well, okay, online comics have, but I don't know, for some reason they are very strange. I really need to do a video about it as well, because for some reason online comics are really bloody good, even if I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why they would be so much better than books or films, but for some reason, to me, they generally are. But yeah, no book I've ever seen left me like this. There's no book I can think of that I can think about for hours. There are no films that can leave me thinking. There are TV series that I enjoy, but none that leave me thinking for hours. I mean, they can be exciting and stuff like that and all, but they don't bury themselves into my mind. They just kind of enter, and once I have the end, then it's done, and nothing else is required anymore.
For how long had Fred been
And
gone?
generally, it's just games that manage to
Less than half a year for sure.
get this really deep connection.
The summer before, but when I counted the days in his journals and
And
from when I last saw him,
it's not even that it's one type of game, even.
Maddie said that she had.
I
known
mean,
him
what
all
games have
her
really
life.
made that very strong connection?
She meant it figuratively.
Skyrim, definitely.
She didn't really.
Alright, that's a
When you say you'll die.
pretty okay-ish, I think, role-playing game,
That's true.
where you can make your own character and kind of make your own stories. Dishonored, a stealth game in first person where you have a preset character with a preset story, where you have a couple of choices. Dust, a side-scrolling melee brawler kind of thingy with a mostly set story as well, and a given characters that are all voiced and stuff. A story about my uncle that is a first-person parkour game with a completely preset story. There's no consistency in what games can really make this great connection, but it's always games that manages to do this, and yeah, this is kind of why I love games. This is always kind of what I am after when playing a game. I mean, great gameplay is great and all, but this deep connection, this deep, just where a game can just kind of go, oh, so you're very mature and everything, and you have your own faults. No. This is our story, and you are going to feel emotions now. That's why I play games. That's why I love games. That's why I love them more than any other medium. I mean, like I said, kind of with online comics, but
Did
online comics are
Fred
strange.
say so?
And not just that there are strange online comics, no, just online comics in general are
Didn't really
somewhat
have
strange to
enough
me.
for a family, I guess. He was always
But yeah,
working
that's,
or busy with his inventions. He could be gone.
I don't know, that's an hour of random
I
thoughts
never knew how
summarized
soon we'd see him again.
in 20 minutes.
You think he felt lonely then?
I think he was too caught up
Yeah.
in his projects to feel lonely.
And if this video sounds kind of odd and low quality, well,
Maddie seemed to be especially
it's very late,
taking after
and
all that he did.
I try not to wake people, and my voice is kind of
Father to her.
She didn't know
tired
her
as well,
mother
sort of
was
ish, I don't know.
She was born from an egg.
That's right. That's
But
the
yeah,
one thing we have
like I said, I'm a weirdo, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all for something else, I guess. This has been Nix, saying farewell.